Hi there, LinkedIn family. Jonathan here from Some Talented People. And oh, funny, this book, where can I start? So I only finished it last week, so I'm still processing the information. But essentially, Think Again by Adam Grant is the second of his books I've read. The other one I did a post on called Originals. And it talks about the fact that intelligence is it's traditionally been seen as the ability to think and learn. And what Adam Grant does in this book is actually point out that the world in the last year has completely changed. And many of the assumptions that we had, which basically controlled our daily lives, have been turned on their head and completely disproven. So the move to online shopping has now accelerated probably by about 5 to 10 years from a retail perspective. The move to hybrid working, many companies went, oh no, you've got to turn up at the office, you've got to be here at 9 and finish at 5, you've got to sit in traffic, you've got to sit on the tube or whatever it is. And wow, it turns out actually that many jobs, from a purely doing the job as opposed to a social or a mental health perspective, but doing the work can be done anywhere. And the working day is basically irrelevant. It's about whether or not you complete the task. So Thinking Again is all about how to challenge what seems comfortable and nice to you. And it talks about unlearning and relearning different perspectives, because, and this is the joy for me, so I have these multiple perspectives like other dyslexic brains, and therefore when I'm talking to someone and they go, oh yeah, but it's this, that and the other, rather than going, oh, I go, ooh, that's interesting, let's wander over here and have a look at that perspective. But of course, I didn't know until very recently that the reason I can do that so easily is because I have several versions running at once. So offer me a different one. It's no different from my everyday experience to step into different perspectives. But look, I'll say for us, but I'm not sure I am affected in this way, but human psychology and bias. So I've talked before about confirmation bias, which is the one whereby once you adopt a belief and you take that on board as your belief system, any other information you're shown by people that think they're showing you factual evidence as to why your belief is wrong, any evidence is then taken by our minds and twisted and contorted in a way that it supports our current belief. So once we believe things without the practice of changing beliefs, we become tied to that narrative. And I was reading the first few pages of this book, and it pointed out another bias that when I explain it to you, you'll go, oh, yes, I see that. And the irony is that you'll see it for the other people, but you won't see it for yourself. But we have what is known as a binary bias. So look at Trump in America, look at Brexit in Britain, look at any of the far right and heavy man, macho type politics that have taken over many parts of the world. What you have on either side of the argument, it doesn't matter to me what side you're on, but you'll find yourself on a side. And I think that in a way that we were approaching this anyway, but Trump and Brexit broke reality insofar as the minute you allow a world leader to suggest alternative facts, to suggest continuously that the media is in a conspiracy against freedom, then what you do is you create a situation whereby people no longer accept what would have formerly been known as evidence. scientific fact, the scientific process. And what happens is that we double down on our belief system and we ignore the things that might take us to a different view, and we become more and more entrenched. And then there's another bias called desirability bias. And this is a product of echo chambers or bubbles and social media. So we like to be right. We prefer to be right than to be happy in many, many, many situations. And being right and being surrounded by people that have similar or overlapping interests and beliefs as you is desirable because it makes you feel good about what you believe. So you get thrown into a divergent side, one or the other. And then because you're surrounding yourself with information from people that agree with you, you like that feeling. And so there's no need, you think, to challenge your thinking. But here's the loss. Without looking at other perspectives, what happens is that you become stuck. Now, I'm just reading a book at the moment called Stuck by Jill McKay, a connection of mine. But we do always find ourselves stuck with a single perspective. And this is why, no matter what the issue, you look around the world and you've got half and half. They're literally as polar opposite as they can be. And as a result, no one's moving, no one's changing, no one's learning. And a good piece of advice, so I don't typically do social media apart from LinkedIn, so I'm not plugged into various things, but a piece of advice that Adam Grant recommends is that you follow people that you disagree with. Another piece of advice from the book is about how you approach the things that you currently believe in and how you approach someone that has differing views. Now, there are a couple of examples in the book which are very profound, and I won't spoil the enjoyment from you reading them, but essentially it's not about winning an argument. You will never persuade someone about an opposite perspective by coming at them with your perspective. What you have to do is you have to find common ground. Find the things that you agree about and then step back and ask how questions rather than why questions. Why questions require one to defend oneself, and so people become more entrenched. But if you ask how a person arrived at a belief, what things that you both have in common. So if you take political parties, for example, both sides of these binary bias, they both believe that what they believe is the right thing to do and they're doing the best thing they can. It's not that people are sitting there going, wah, I'm going to be, deliberately this, that, or the other. What it is that once we believe something, we find it incredibly difficult to change that belief. And so you can just illustrate to someone that there's much more common ground than there is uncommon ground. Talking to people all around the world, as we do now regularly through Zoom, you find that no matter what country, no matter what system, that all people, apart from a very, very, very small minority, are good, decent people living good lives. And what they believe is not an attack on you if they believe something different. It is the way that their mind has interpreted the meaning from the external world. And to challenge that meaning is not effective, nor is it changing anybody's mind. To think again requires the person to see for themselves. Oh, okay, yeah, I developed that belief because of this, that, and the other. Oh, and I see, yeah, actually, you do a lot of the things that I think we should do as well. And from there, you can both move forward in a way that learning and opinion becomes a discussive point, not an argument point. So very easy for me to think again. It's one of the things I do particularly well, and so I read the book and was laughing quite hard throughout. First time I've heard of binary bias. That was a good thing. So I recommend you buy this book. It's very informative and gives you strategies for how to think again, which we all need to do more and more in this ceasingly changing world. All right, you have a great day, and I'll see you again. Cheers.